Management Console. By the end of this course, you'll be able to navigate through the AWS Management Console, understand billing considerations, and gain hands-on experience. Select a topic to begin. The AWS Console provides a list of all the AWS services, which are grouped by category. Some commonly used categories are compute, storage, database, networking, and security. In the compute section, Amazon Elastic Compute Cloud, or Amazon EC2, and AWS Lambda are computing services that you might need to access frequently. Select the icons for those services to learn more about them. Then, use the scroll bar to scroll down to view other common categories and services. In the storage category, you will find S3. S3 is Amazon's simple storage service. It is one of the most popular AWS services and is used in most architectures. In the database category, Amazon Relational Database Service, or Amazon RDS, is a good choice if you want to set up a relational database instance. If your architecture uses a non-relational database, then Amazon DynamoDB is likely the service you would choose. When you are ready, use the scroll bar to continue. In the Networking and Content Delivery section, you can set up additional VPCs. A VPC, or Virtual Private Cloud, is an isolated section of the cloud that you can use to provision shared AWS resources. Amazon CloudFront and Amazon Route 53 are other common networking and content delivery services. You'll learn more about these services as you dive deeper into learning about AWS. In the Security, Identity, and Compliance section, Amazon gives you various services that you can use to protect your cloud environment. The most important of these services is AWS Identity and Access Management, or IAM. With IAM, you create users on your AWS account, configure password policies, grant users access to services, and much more. When you are ready, use the scroll bar to scroll to the top of the page. To see a shortcut list of the services you recently visited, select Recently Visited Services. Amazon EC2, Amazon S3, and DynamoDB are services that have recently been used, and shortcuts are available under Recently Visited Services. For quick access to specific services, you can use the search bar at the top of the page. Select the search bar to see an example of the results you would get if you enter. The results pull up services, features, and documentation that contain EC2. To begin using the service, select EC2 in the Services section. The EC2 dashboard is displayed, and you can begin using the service. Each service has a dashboard unique to that service's offerings. If you need to access other services, you can do so without leaving the EC2 dashboard. Select Services to quickly view the categories of services. The services are displayed in the same grouping that they were on the AWS Console homepage. From here, you can select a service to redirect to that page, or you can right-click a service to open the service in a new tab or window. You can also create a list of favorites for services that you use frequently. Practice adding Amazon EC2 to the favorites list by hovering the mouse over EC2. As you hover over the service, the outline of a star, the star icon is now filled in, and Amazon EC2 appears in your favorites list for quick access. To remove a service from the favorites list, select the star icon next to the service again. Next, you'll return to the AWS Console homepage. To do this, select the AWS logo at the top of the page, or when choosing services on the AWS Console, it is important to understand the impact of AWS regions. A region is an isolated geographic area where AWS data centers house the hardware that's used for building cloud infrastructure. When choosing services, it's a best practice to choose the region that is closest to your customers. For example, if an American company will be hosting a new website for customers in Australia, then the company should choose the region for Sydney, Australia. This region is closest to the customer and will help reduce latency. Not all services are available in every region. The service on the left is available across all the AWS regions. The service on the right, which shows many services grayed out, is available only in a few regions. Northern Virginia is the primary region for AWS. It provides access to all AWS services and should be considered the region to use when training on AWS. AWS has various transparent pricing models that you can use to your advantage. The most flexible is the pay-as-you-go model. Using this pricing model, you pay for resources only as you use them. You have no contracts to sign and no minimum use requirements. You turn the services on and turn it off and are charged for only the time you used it. When choosing an AWS resource, it's important to understand the factors that affect service pricing. Some of the more common services you will use include storage and compute. For example, when you create an S3 bucket for storage, you are not charged for the bucket. However, you are charged for the amount that you store in the bucket and the storage class of the files that you upload. When you provision an EC2 instance for computing, charges are based on the computing options that you select and the volume size that you choose. The AWS region that you choose can affect your billing costs. In this example, the costs for Amazon S3 are slightly more expensive in the South America region than they are in the Northern Virginia region. Select the icons for Amazon S3 and Amazon EC2 for some best practices to minimize your costs. When you are done using them, choose Next to continue. AWS provides details on pricing for every service by category. To learn more about pricing, choose AWS Pricing and bookmark the page for future use. Choose Next when you are ready to continue. Now you are going to do a hands-on practice. In this practice, you'll be setting up an EC2 instance. Then you will terminate the instance while also observing the differences between stopping and terminating an instance and the impact on billing. Finally, you will see why working in multiple regions while training on AWS is not recommended. Choose Start to begin. Navigate to the EC2 dashboard from the All Services or the Recently Visited Services section. In the Resources section of the EC2 dashboard, you have a quick view of the resources that you have set up. By default, you will have one security group that's created. You are not charged for either security groups or key pairs. In the Launch Instance section, choose Launch Instance. Choose Launch Instance from the list. Next, you must choose the Amazon Machine Image, or AMI, that you will use. The AMI provides the information required to launch an instance. To keep costs low, choose Select for the free tier Amazon Linux AMI. Next, you choose the instance type. Instance types are combinations of CPU, memory, storage, and networking that your instance will have. Keep the default free tier eligible T2 Micro selected, and choose Review and Launch. Choose Launch. Next, choose or create a key pair. A key pair is a set of passwords that you can use to connect securely to your instance. Select the Choose an Existing Key. Select the key pair. Choose Download Key Pair. You should save the key pair to a folder that you will remember. For this example, you'll save it to your desktop. Choose Save. Choose Launch Instances. The EC2 instance is being provisioned. Use the scroll bar to scroll down. Choose View Instances. In a live environment, it might take a few minutes before your server is fully provisioned. When the instance state is set to running and the status checks are set to 2 of 2, the server is ready to use. Now, look at the difference between stopping the server and terminating the server. Select the checkbox that select the instance state, select Stop Instance. Choose Stop. The instance is stopped. In a live environment, it might take a few minutes. The refresh button can be used when needed. Choose the EC2 dashboard. Notice that you still have one volume that is provisioned. When you stop an instance, you are no longer being charged for compute resources. However, you're still being charged for the volume hard drives because they are storing data. Choose Instances to navigate back to the instance to terminate it. Select the checkbox that's associated with the instance. Select the instance state. Choose the EC2 dashboard. Notice that the volume is now gone and you will not be charged anything further. Remember, key pairs and security groups don't cost you anything, and you can reuse them the next time you provision an instance. But suppose you are still getting billed. The reason might be that you were provisioning servers in other regions. Choose the drop-down for the regions. Select the Ireland region. In this example, the user provisioned 3 EC2 instances in the Ireland region. Then, when they returned to the Northern Virginia region, they forgot to terminate these instances. This kind of mistake can cost money that you did not intend to spend. Therefore, it's a best practice to work in one region as you train on AWS. Choose instances running to navigate the instances to terminate them. Select the top checkbox to select all the instances. Select Instance State. Select Terminate Instance. Choose Terminate. The instances are terminating. Choose Refresh. The instances are terminated. Choose EC2 Dashboard. You can now verify that you do not have any Amazon EC2 resources that are provisioned and are costing you money in this region. Choose the AWS icon to navigate back to the AWS console homepage. Notice that the region is still set to Ireland. After you change the region, it will not change back to any other region unless you manually change it. Choose the region icon drop-down and select Northern Virginia. Congratulations! You have completed this hands-on practice. Congratulations! You have completed this training. You may now exit the course.